Wondering what's next in your business or personal life? Welcome to Success to Significance, Life After Breaking Through Glass Ceilings, a podcast dedicated to helping you with all of life's challenges, discoveries, and opportunities. Whether you're seeking a new career, retirement, or simply wanting to make an impact in your community or the world. Join Jen Duplessis and her guests as they explore how to start, what to do when you're in the thick of a change or growth, and how to leave a mark in this world after breaking through your next achievement. You are moments away from the aha you've been seeking.
Well, hey there, and welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Lady Jen Duplessis. Of course, you know that. I say that every single time. I just want to say thank you again for joining us and taking time out of your busy schedule, whether you're driving down the road, riding your bike, or working out, because everyone texts me and says, guess what? I listened to it while I was doing this, that, and the other. I really, really appreciate it. Appreciate you being here again today. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And joining me today is Armando Villa. I'm so excited to have him on here because this is one of the areas that is lacking so much. I know that many of you know I, focus on team building and scaling and management and leadership. But none of that matters if you don't have sales. And that's exactly what Armando is going to be talking about us today. So give me an opportunity here to invite him in and tell you just a little bit about him. He loves setting himself apart from traditional sales coaches and trainers, which, by the way, is a sales concept all by itself, right, Armando? He specializes in sales operations and talking about why sales operations are really key, but we're also going to talk about sales too. He has 15 years of experience in sales, and so he totally gets it. He totally gets what you're struggling with in your business or what you're struggling with on your team or in your own personal sales as an entrepreneur. He's the creator of the Evolved Sales Method. This innovative approach introduces 5 new pillars to sales success. And I love that you use pillars too. I use pillars in sales all the time, giving business owners and team leaders the power to create a customized sales strategy that fits into their specific needs and challenges, right? Customization is so big. And I think that the most important thing that he does is he's bridging the gap between sales and everything that goes behind it, right? The anxiety, I don't want to sound salesy, the highs and lows, right? We go out and we sell and then we have to deliver and then we sell again and we have to deliver. And it's just constant, and this is one of the reasons why people have problems scaling. So his mission is to shift the stigma around sales into a positive light, empowering entrepreneurs to achieve their mission through mastering sales and leveraging their expertise to make a global impact in the world. So welcome to the show, Armando. I'm so excited for this interview.
Thank you, Lady Jen, for having me on your podcast. And I'm really excited to talk and to be with you here. The fact that you focus on scaling and really just making life enjoyable, like our personal life, but also our business life. And a lot of this is by being able to scale, creating the processes to really fully enjoy our work.
Yeah.
And not just create another job for ourselves. And I think that's something that a lot of us, including myself, fell into when I first became an entrepreneur. So Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So let's talk about that. So there was this tipping point for you at some point, where you're out there selling and you're like many people going to networking events. You have to be everywhere. I've got this saying now, not back then, that I don't do anything for FOMO. I only do it for promo. Right? No more FOMO. I only go to something if it's going to be promoting myself or promoting others that are with me, right? In networking. So there must have been a tipping point where you said, aha, this is the thing that is the key to my success if I'm going to move forward in sales and as an entrepreneur. So walk us back and give us the story of what it looked like for you and how you went, okay, that's it. This has got to be fixed.
Definitely. So it really happened when I left my last sales job, my last salaried 9 to 5, if you so want to call it. and I jumped into the entrepreneur space. And I had worked with some of the best sales coaches, so I had sales down. And I consider myself an introvert. So I had to learn how to sell as an introvert, which I feel makes for the best salespeople from who I've worked with, who I've trained. Introverted salespeople make for really, really great salespeople. So if you're an introvert out there, don't shy away from sales. It's really, you just have to learn and really approach sales in a way that's going to work for you and that's going to be authentic for you. So
Yeah.
when I shifted over and started my own business, I had just wrapped up working with one of the best companies that I ever worked for. It was actually a woman-owned company, and it was on the Inc. 500 2 years in a row. The company, the owner retired, so she essentially dissolved the team, and it was time for kind of all of us to fly on our own. And instead of getting another 9 to 5, I decided to jump in and start my own business. Now, when I jumped in and started my own business, I was like, I know how to sell. I'm going to create my offers, start selling, and bam, we're off to the races, right? It sounded so simple. I knew it was going to be work, but it's like, no problem. I got this. When I shifted over as a business owner, I started to realize that there was a whole lot more to being a business owner slash entrepreneur. There's a lot of different moving pieces. There's the finance, of course, piece of it. There's the marketing piece of it. There's the delivery and operations, and then of course the sales. So I was like trying to piece everything together. And it's like, as I was going, something new would pop up every day. So I was like, okay, I was finding myself so busy in my business that I started to really lack in sales. Like I stopped doing my sales activities. I stopped
Yeah.
following up with leads because I was so busy. I was
Busy
out there
doing
networking. Right,
right?
right. So I was like
Yucky stuff.
busy.
Yeah.
Right. So I was busy going to events, networking, which are all needed, to really put some light into your business. It's all necessary. And what I figured at that point, I'm like, I am missing my sales machine. I'm missing my sales department. So I don't have my processes. Yes, I know how to sell, but I don't have my sales operations in place. Like I don't have that machine to work for me while I'm out there networking. And a lot of this is, operations that it could be your CRM, your different stages, automation, your scripts, your follow-up, all of it. So that's all included in sales operations. And that's what I was missing. So I was like, okay, I need to take a step back and really start to build the sales operations piece of it. And I realized that a lot of us that shift into the entrepreneur space, and that includes people that are also working within companies that are entrepreneurs. Sometimes they have processes already built by the company, but sometimes you still need to have your own processes
Right.
in place. So I
Yeah.
saw that this was a huge, huge gap in the marketplace, and I created it for myself. And now that's what I teach people is how to create the operations piece of their sales department. Because I also tell my clients, once you decided to jump in and be a business owner, you assume the role of sales director, sales
Everything.
manager, and salesperson. So it's like you can't ignore these because that's actually what drives revenue in. So that's what I started to build. That was the gap. And here we are now.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so let's talk about, I want to kind of step back just a little bit about this because there's this, the word that everybody uses, fulfillment, right? Is the process, right? The process or the fulfillment. Are you talking specifically about this? I call it client experience. Okay, what the
Mhm.
client experiences, because we do all the work to get them in, and we're like, yes, we got the sale. And then we've got to have a client experience so that we can create. And if you think of an infinity sign, that's how I
Mhm.
teach my clients is, okay, we bring them in for well, I'll do it backwards. We bring them in for the experience, and then we have to nurture them so that they come back in again for the next time that they want to use our services, right? So are you talking about the client experience for the deliverable, or are you talking about an experience that may happen up on the top side to actually get the sale? Can we discern that just a little bit so that we can understand exactly where this fits in this? Because I'm imagining people running amok, hey, I'm going to this networking and that networking and this, and I collected a bunch of business cards, or now we just, shoot them and then we don't even remember where it went. Right, we
Right.
don't have a coding system saying, "Where did I don't even remember that person's name, and I automatically brought them into my world." Right, nobody has cards, and we don't follow through. right? So we can't even get to the sale.
Mhm.
So let's talk about the differences between those.
This is how I know that you know your stuff. It's because you're thinking about it from both sides. Usually, a lot of people don't even think about it from either
Yeah.
side, or they just think of it from the entry point. But you're thinking about it the whole way through. So really where I focus in is I actually like to create a seamless integration from marketing into sales. A lot of people don't even know where that line begins.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, where is the handoff from marketing where you're generating your leads, you're getting brand awareness? Where does that handoff happen? What's the criteria that makes a marketing lead into a sales qualified lead? So we
Yeah.
need to really pinpoint that so we can create the sales process, the entry point, as you will, so the client has a enjoyable experience and not
Yeah.
a pushy experience. What tends to happen is they take a premature marketing lead and they just shove it into their sales process and they try to hard
Yeah.
sell that individual. That's what you see a lot of.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I listen. I love Mary Kay consultants. If you're a Mary Kay consultant, it's not against you, but I'm so tired of being approached by, "Hi, do you use Mary Kay? I'm a Mary Kay consultant, right? Because I'm a woman. I get it. It's like, yeah, okay. Do you want to have a party? 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 Right?" And I
right,
can't imagine, when I think back in my lending world, right, when I was in mortgage lending for so many years, walking up to you and going, "Hey, Armando, can I get your social security number? Let's get your social security number. I need your date of birth. Can I get your social security number? I want to give you a loan. I don't know. Don't worry about all the details. Let's just get that going."
right,
That's the pushy sales people are so afraid of, right? It's like that show up and throw up or stop pitching me. How can
right.
we have a relationship so that you feel comfortable working with me? And then I want you to have the great experience.
That's exactly it. And it's not really your fault, people's fault that they're really being so pushy, but it's what
Yeah.
the marketplace is unfortunately teaching. I hear
Yeah.
a lot of high ticket sales and it's like high ticket sales training. That's usually not always, but oftentimes it's something that's a very pushy strategy or very pushy tactic. And it's what we want to do is, like you said, it's create that relationship, create some value, ease them into the process. Don't just push them down the stairs and force them into your sales process. So we want to create that seamless. And it's the thing I also teach is that everybody's process is going to be a little bit different. There's standard protocols that we follow, but every process is going to be different depending on who you're selling to, the level that they're at, the indoctrination that they've had with your business, your personality as well, and also your brand's personality and what your brand represents. It's like we need to take all of these into consideration so we can create a seamless and really enjoyable experience for our prospects. And once we do that, then we start to create value. We start to, really show them that we're here to provide value. Like that's what I always teach is go into these sales conversations, not to sell somebody, but to really get a good understanding of their pain points, of their challenges, and to really bring value
Right.
wherever you can. And then you
Right.
just guide them through your process.
Yeah. So I see behind you a whole bunch of books, and I'm sure they're, I mean, I've got a gazillion of them too, but I'm sure those are a lot of books about sales. What you're talking about here is not taking, let's take, Keller, right? Gary Keller, his book saying the one thing, this is the one thing you need to do. And everyone saying, oh, I'm going to take notes and that's the one thing I'm going to do. Or
Right.
taking, Joe Stumpf. I mean, this is going way back, right? Joe Stumpf was a big guy. And I was like, oh, I got to do it exactly like Joe Stumpf says. So this is taking all of those and you saying, okay, I took a little of this and a little of this and I Armandoized it. So that, right? So that it
Right.
becomes your sales DNA.
That's
Everybody's got that
exactly it.
sales DNA. Okay, so let's dig into this then. I want to talk about this evolved sales method. And I heard you talk about this on a summit that you and I were speaking at. I want to talk about how you're saying, that's old. Now let's talk about what's new. So take the floor and talk about whatever direction you want to go in. I'd love to hear the 5 pillars. I know we don't have time to go through them,
Right.
through them all detailed, but maybe you could talk about some of that as well.
Right. So the evolved sales method really came upon seeing the gaps that I saw in the marketplace. And really, it's the same gaps that I experienced when I became an entrepreneur. So the 5 pillars, really, it's a model that I created. So one, you can see all the different pillars that you need to create a very sustainable, long-term sales department that's going to generate revenue for you. But it's a model that I use and that I share with people so they can see whenever they go and invest into a sales training program. I always tell my clients, my students, okay, pinpoint in what pillar does this program focus on, and do you
Ooh,
really
that's good.
need what do you really need to focus on in this area? Even if it's my program, I tell them if I'm offering something and it's in a pillar that you're already good in, that you don't even need help with, don't buy it.
Move
It's
on.
like, yeah, go,
Yeah.
you need to focus somewhere else. So I always tell people use this as kind of a baseline to gauge if this is something that we really need to invest in right now. That's another huge challenge that I see for us entrepreneurs. We get that FOMO, like you said, it's like that scarcity of like, oh no, they're having a promo, a sale right now. I have
Gotta
to
get it.
buy this. Like, no, I got to get it. It's like,
Yeah.
don't fall into the trap. Like, I want you to invest your money in a wise way. And this model does that. It helps you pinpoint where it is that you're investing. And then you can really assess, is this an area where I really need help in? And if you can't pinpoint where that program falls into the 5 pillars, then that means it's a very scattered program and you should probably stay away from it, in my opinion. So to
I
go
love
over the
it.
5 pillars very quickly, the first pillar is mindset and your sales approach. So this is really the foundation. If you build your home in an unstable foundation, guess what? It's gonna collapse, on its
Right.
own. So you have to build a mindset. There's a whole process that I take my students and clients through. There's a lot of mindset work out there that's really good. Really, where mine is a little bit different is that we just don't work on your mindset, but we also build the tools and the assets to build your confidence, which then builds your mindset. So it's like having a demo, for example. Even if you're a service provider or coach or consultant, if you're not using a demo to pitch your services, you're greatly missing out. And we'll talk about that in the next pillar. But doing these little assets, creating these little assets, these little tools will give you a lot of confidence going into a sales conversation. Also, finding the right approach. Everybody approaches sales in a different way. I always tell people, don't try to sell like me. Like, try, sell like yourself, be authentic. That's another challenge that I see is people will invest in a program, they'll try to emulate the coach or the trainer and try to sell like them. And sometimes it works for a bit, but guess what? If it's not authentic, if it's not genuine, it's going to become
Not aligned.
very
Yeah.
exhausting. It's
Yeah.
going to become exhausting. And that's why a lot of people will then be like, okay, now I need to look for the next program to invest in, this next silver bullet, like you said, the one strategy that's going to change everything. There's no such thing in sales. There's not one strategy that's going to change everything for
Right.
you. It's little pieces that you have to build like a house, and it all starts with the first piece, which is the mindset, which is why that's the first pillar. Second pillar is the sales operations. So this is where we create your SOPs, we create your assets, your demos, your white papers, your sales stages, everything in place. So when you're busy out there networking, speaking, doing podcasts like this, you have your processes in place and you're taking care of every piece of your sales department. So no opportunities are falling through the cracks. We were just talking about this, but it's not always about generating more leads. It's about doing good with or great with the leads that we already do have. Let's maximize the opportunities that we already have. And that's what the sales operations piece covers. It's essentially the engine. It's the machine that's running in the background and that what to do at certain times of the day, days of the week, days of the month. You know what to do. And that's sales operations. You need to have that in place. If not, you're going to always feel scattered. And when people feel scattered, they feel like they need to throw money at a program to help them solve that problem.
Yeah.
And that's
Yep.
not
Yep.
always the case.
I know. Let's
Yeah.
raise our hands because we both succumb to that, right? Until we
Right.
learned not to do it.
Right. And that was me as well. That was me when I first started. That's how all of this was developed.
Right,
This was
right,
my
of
pain
course.
points.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And then the third pillar is creating a unified marketing and sales strategy. So oftentimes I'll come in and I'll help clients with their sales, and I always jump in and collaborate with their marketing. This is both for solo entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs with teams. You have a marketing side of your business, and then you have a sales side of your business. You need to really figure out where, again, the two separate and where they connect. So we need to build that conduit between the two that's in alignment with each other and that's going to guide your prospects through a seamless journey where they're actually going to enjoy going through the process with you. Like, you want your prospects, whether they buy or not, that was an enjoyable process, that you felt that it was your best, that you had their best intention in mind. And that's what we have to do, is we have to really create that unified marketing and sales strategy where it's in alignment and everything's working together. So that's the third
So,
pillar.
okay, so keep in mind, because hopefully you've got these written down, and I know you know them, but I've been on podcast. I've got 5 things too, and sometimes I'm like, where are we? I get it. I get it, right? I know that how but I want to talk about a couple things that you just said there. I
Mhm.
want to make sure that we're driving, this piece of this home. One aspect of this is, if you're working on a team, right? Or you're someone who's worked in a company, you're working in a company, and you're thinking about making that transition, or you're on a team inside of a company, like you call an entrepreneur, is the marketing that the company gives you, the website. Here's the website template that we use for everybody, may not align with your values, your team values. Not, you don't want to go to a company. Yes, you want to go to a company and you want to be somewhat aligned, their values need to align with what you want, but your team, and then furthermore, your company, when you get to that point, when you decide to open up your own company, that alignment that you're so used to doing is you're used to just throwing up what you've seen before and not really realizing that you have a voice. You
Mhm.
have a say in this. And there's a disconnect. I see it all the time with companies that have that I mean, gosh, I could talk about all kinds of companies that have that canned, everybody's page looks the same, and all you get to do is put your resume on there,
Right.
right?
Right.
So that's what you're talking about, is that unification of that, that marketing that somebody does with the way you sell, and it does, and then the client's expecting something, and then you walk in and you're like, oh yeah, well, that's the company, that's a template thing. So speak to that a little bit, because I want people to
Right.
hear this. Like, how do you get your voice out there? And then furthermore, when you make that transition, you can't forget that. You can't forget that you've got to hold up both pieces.
Right. I'm so glad you brought that up. So, in cases of like mortgage brokers, you're working in with certain demographics. So you might have assets that your company built for you that adopt, you make your own. Of course, you have to fall within policy and regulation. You can only change so much. So you want to make sure you're within compliance. But for these individuals that are entrepreneurs, I always coach them and help them see how can you add your own spice to these assets that are already given to you. That's one of the great things about coming in and working for a company that already has this built. They already built the machine, but that doesn't mean you just take it, like you said, and use this, really templated, website or white papers or assets or process. You should add your spice to it. Yeah, again, within company policy of what you can change, but
Yeah.
add your own spice to it. And even better, it's look at the demographic. Somebody could be working in California and somebody else can be working in Texas. Very different demographics. You're going to approach the prospect in different ways, and the best way to really assess how you can change it is to speak to their particular pain points and to the language that they're using. So one of the biggest things that I do and that I teach as well is to listen to your recorded sales calls. I record your sales calls, and that's where you're going to get all of the gold. It's not always about going and learning from a new sales program or sales training course. A lot of it is we already have it in our hands. We just have to learn how to analyze the data that we already are getting. So record your sales calls and really listen and really be curious and really care about your prospects and listen to those pain points. Listen to the words that they're using. I use an AI service where I record my sales calls, and of course, I always ask for permission before I record.
Right.
So make sure you do that. But I always record, and I use an AI service that tells me like the most words used by my prospect during the call, the questions that they ask, the pain points. And then I use that to really tailor my assets to my demographic. It's like
Yeah.
speak directly to them. And again, add your own spice. If you're someone that's a little bit more humorous, like add a little bit of humor to it, like add a little bit of personality. Like at the end of the day, people do buy from people they do like. They need you to know that you care, that you are resourceful, but also they buy from people that they like. So it's like that's one way to
Yeah.
really incorporate that, is to make it your own.
Yeah. And I want to make sure everybody knows this too. Like Otter just brought out, Otter.ai. They just
Mhm.
brought out some new software, so that they can do a summary for you,
Right.
and you can ask it, what do you want to know? Is like, what is the number, this, that, and there. So just letting everybody know that there's all kinds of sources out there to be able to help you do that. I started laughing, and if you're watching this versus if you're listening, you might want to go watch it, right? You head on over to YouTube and subscribe. But I immediately started laughing because I had a client one time and I said, look, someone who is in sales and I said, I want you to record your phone call. And it was so painful. It was so
It is.
painful because hey, how are you? That's good. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, so what's up? And he's like, oh, nothing, I just wanted to, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wanted to just, it was stabbing me. And so when we replayed it, we dissected it, and said, hey, look, we really need to work on these pieces of it. But yeah, I love absolutely what you're saying. I call it voice, right? It's your voice. What is your voice?
Right.
Are you humorous? Are you formal? Are you, do you use cuss words, which you shouldn't, but do
Right.
you do that? Or, are you kind of, like, and so listen, and no matter who's listening to this, and I have a lot of people that are roofing salespeople, right? They work for a company, a roofing company. You got to put your personality in this. This is
Absolutely.
not selling them. You may want to own your own roofing company, but beyond that, if you want your sales to increase, get your personality out there, get your voice out there. Yeah, I love it.
Absolutely.
I love
Absolutely.
it. Thank you for bringing
So,
that up. Okay, so
of
number
course.
4, I'm
So
keeping
number
you on track.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, because I can talk about this all day. So
Yeah.
thank you for getting me. So pillar number 4 is where the actual sales conversation comes into place. So this is working on what I call the adaptive sales framework. So we don't want to have a rigid script, but we do want to have a framework to make sure that we're covering all the pieces, making sure we're gathering the information about their pain points, about the solutions that they already have been looking at or have tried, and then really showing them what our solution would look like. So it's a framework. And again, it's going to look different for everyone.
Yeah.
It's not a cookie cutter framework. It's going to be tailored to the way that you sell and what you're selling and who you're selling to. So this is all about the conversation. Also, I also teach on what to do before the pre-call. So how to prepare for the call, how to prepare for the call,
Yeah.
what to do during the call, and also how to handle objections. Now, the way that I teach handling objections is a little bit different. I don't tell you what to say for like all objections. Like sometimes you hear sales trainings be like, oh, say this for a spousal objection. It's like, no, it's not that simple. What you want to do is you want to write these objections that you're getting and take some time after the call. It doesn't have to be immediately after the call, but take some time to really assess that objection and really see how you can mitigate that objection from even coming up. So see how you can incorporate that, attack it, right? But right. So really, see how you can include something in your framework where you're going to cover that objection before it even comes up. And if it's still coming up, know what to say from your own way of handling the objection. It's not a standard, like this is exactly verbatim what you say. No, we have to practice
Understand
this.
how you feel.
Right.
But what we found, right?
Right.
I'm just
Exactly.
excited. I'm so excited because it's such a breath of fresh air to hear someone else say, one of the things I tell my clients all the time is, look, if you know you're going to get the objection about X, Y, and Z, then say, hey, so I can, and so I want to dive this in just a little bit. So someone listening, goes, oh, what do they mean by this kind of, attack it?
Right.
I don't really mean attack it. But, for example, if someone says, I don't think my business is far enough along for me to work with you, right? So you might say something like, you may feel that your business is not far enough along to work with me.
Right. So it's so like,
reframing.
right, it's reframing. So that's like a good example because that will come up. And a big part of that, which pillar number 3 covers, is making sure that we're talking to the right people. So if that is coming up a lot in your sales conversations, it's like, okay, are these people actually clients that we should be on the phones with?
Right.
Are they
Go back to my
are they
market.
not right? Are they not ready to have a conversation with us? Are we prematurely shoving them into a sales call? So that's another, it's the reframing. I love the reframing as well, but it's also like, let's take it one step back, let's go back to pillar 3 and see where we're missing the mark in that lead qualification from MQL to SAL. It's like, okay, let's make sure that we're talking to the right people. Because if you're talking to the wrong people, you're going to get discouraged. And this is why a lot of people feel like they suck at sales. And it's a lot of times it's because they are talking to the wrong people or they're talking to them at the wrong time. And that really dings your confidence confidence. And a lot of people struggle because of that, because they're just talking to people that they shouldn't even be on the phone yet. They should be
Yeah.
maybe getting more educated. Maybe they're not ready for a call. Maybe they're not even our ideal clients, and we shouldn't be talking to those people, not wasting our time, but also their time as well.
Yeah. And we see this, and I mean, I just threw that one out. I, pulled it out of my, but but I mean, there's other kinds too. Like if you have referral partners that you're,
Mhm.
if you're trying to get out there and you talk to referral partners, they're a little more difficult to quantify because, maybe you met them in a networking event or something like that, and they're like, oh, I'll give you an example. When I was in mortgage lending, I would have realtors, I think when they go to school, I've said this 1,000 times, when they go to school, they're like, well, you just got to know these 3 phrases, and loan officers will put their tail between their legs and run away. Don't worry about it, right? And it's, oh, I'm not a selling agent. Not a buyer's agent. I'm a listing agent. And they go, oh yeah, I know I can't work with you. Not true. Not true, right?
Right.
Or I already have my relationship. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Right. So you get those. And so I realize you may be a listing agent and not a selling agent. So tell me a little bit more about what your business is about. You know, so I mean, there's just so many ways you can, we make assumptions, right?
Right.
Constantly in sales, constantly making assumptions. So love that. Okay, let's go to number 5.
So number 5 is actually the management part of this. So it's
Mm,
managing your sales department. One of the things that I teach right out of the gate when people start working with me is to book a sales meeting with yourself or with your team if you have a team. Every week, same day, same time, every week have a sales meeting. This is part of that machine
yeah,
that a lot of these enterprises and SMBs have that we also need to adopt when we become entrepreneurs. So if we're not managing our activities, our numbers, what we did last week, what's working, what's not working, guess what? We're always going to be struggling. We're always going to be scrambling when it comes to sales. So,
right.
right. So every week it's like have a sales meeting. So I teach my clients how to run their own sales meetings, what to look at, really assess, what's working, what's not working. And even taking it a step further is to communicate our findings from our sales meetings and share it to our marketing team. So
Yeah,
share it back to them, because guess what? If we help them, if we help our marketing team, they're going to get better at what they do, and they're going to send us even better leads, which just helps everybody, increases conversion, shortens the sales cycle. So it's like, let's work together. And if you're a solo entrepreneur, this is the same for you. It's like, take those notes from your sales meeting. Whenever you work on your marketing, really take a look at your notes from your sales meeting and see, okay, how can I improve my outreach? That also includes prospecting. It's like, how can I improve my prospecting? How can I improve my marketing? How can I improve my social media posts based off of what I learned last week and the weeks prior as far as my sales activities go?
yeah,
So we have to manage our sales department. And again, if we're solo entrepreneurs, we have to do this ourselves, but it's
yeah.
worth it. It's going to save you a lot of time, a lot of money, but you just have to put a little bit of effort and be consistent in this
Yeah.
area.
So I love them. Thank you so much for sharing. So this makes me think about this concept of extrovert, introvert. I'm a disc person, so I'm like all about
Nice.
that. It's really funny. I'm like a high I, so I'm definitely an extrovert, but I am a C, so I'm an introvert. I'm very
Mhm.
techie, but I have this piece of me that wants to set it and forget it because I want to go have fun. And
Right.
then I have the other piece that's like, wait a minute, give me that piece of paper. What, blah, blah, the section 42 of I get real systematic, and then I get bored of myself. And so I go back out and I have fun again. And then I get mad at myself because I'm like, who said that? And my team said, you did. Right. Because I have an actual team, right? And they're like, you said that. And I go, no, I didn't, because my C would not do that. My
Right.
I would, right? So if someone is, because I mean, that's what you're talking about here is a lot of salespeople will set it and forget it. Okay, I went through his little 5 things, and I don't want to do that management. I don't want to do the sales meeting. I don't want to do the tracking. I don't want to do But then there's other people that are saying, I don't want to do the sales.
Right.
I just want to go to 5. Can I just like nickel and dime and process analysis it to a extent? So wherever someone is and they're trapped in who they are, right? Or maybe not trapped, and they were saying, I want to increase the awareness. I want to get better at this. What are some strategies that you can give them, or some tips that you can say, I know you don't like it. Like the great Les Brown says, look, if you do what's easy, your life would be hard. You do
Right,
it's hard, your
exactly.
life would be easy. But what he really means, because I know him, is if you do the hard thing for a short time, then it'll be easy. So give us your take on how do we help ourselves not push these things that we don't want to do aside and miss a step.
Definitely. I love that you brought up Les Brown because
Oh,
I learned from him early on when
yeah.
I first started as an entrepreneur, even before then, but even especially when I started as an entrepreneur, I'm like, okay, now all of his lessons, they're making so much more sense. And I'm glad you brought this up because what a lot of people try to do, and that gets them in a lot of trouble, is that they just try to throw money at the problem. This is
Yeah.
why a lot of entrepreneurs are, they get credit card debt, they are, struggling when it comes to their finances. They just keep pouring and pouring money. They're just keep throwing money at the problem. So I'm like, you can really go one or two ways. You can actually do this work little piece by piece by piece. And I tell them it's going to be okay. It's going to take some time. It's like, this is not going to be built overnight. So I tell them, have some patience. As
Yeah.
long as you're consistent, like take 30 minutes on your calendar every week and have that sales meeting. That
Well, heck, you've
alone,
been spending 5 years spending money.
right, exactly. And
Right.
it's like, what do you prefer? Do you prefer to make some small changes consistently, or do you want to keep spending time watching webinars and watching trainings, watching YouTube videos and throwing money and still being in the same place over and over again? So I really, it's like, I want to grab them and shake them. It's like, stop spending so much money, stop trying to throw money at the problem. It's like, let's figure out exactly what we need to work on and do all these little steps. So that's
Yeah.
usually how I help my clients. And by the time they usually come to me, they're already exhausted at spending money and not knowing exactly where they're investing. I think if we show them exactly what they're working toward, that's why I created that visual of the 5 pillars, because they can
Yeah.
visually see what areas they're working on. And that really helps people.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love that. And and again, some of that avoidance, this is why I have these 5 strategies for success too. And one of the things that I talk about is hiring a mentor sooner than later
Hmm.
because they've already
Right.
walked through this process and they can help you get through it quicker than you standing back and saying, okay, well, I got his 5 things. Now I know what I need to do. Well, it's going to take you more
Hmm.
time to get through those 5 items than it would be working with Armando. That's the bottom line, right? It,
Right.
it is the bottom line. But it again, is this a void? Is this a void, or does this just sound really cool? And I'm not trying to take anything from you, Armando, obviously, but we do have to. It's the sequencing. I talk about it all the time.
Hmm.
The sequencing is so we get so excited that we just buy things that don't have anything to do with sequencing. Do you need all of it? Sure, maybe, but not today.
Right.
Let's take one step at a time. I mean, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You don't try to consume it all and then try to
Right.
spit it back up, and that's exactly what it's about. I love that. Okay, so I know you have some freebies and some things for us. We'll have all that in the show notes so that everybody can grab those. So I'd like to just ask you this question. Well, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. Is there
Okay.
anything
Shoot.
that we haven't covered that you want to cover because this is about you?
Let's see. I just really think that sales, I really want to make a shift in sales, especially for us entrepreneurs. I really want to have standards and even be as ethical as a finance department has to be. If
Hmm.
you think of sales, if you look at a finance department, they have to follow regulations, policies when it comes to doing anything that revolves around finances. It should be the same for sales. It's like there should be policy, there should be standards. So really treat your sales department just like you would your finance department. Like just how you handle your accounting for your business, you should take the same and spend the same amount of time, same amount of effort on your sales department with that much seriousness because it's the engine really that drives the revenue into your business. And again, like I mentioned earlier, it's when you became an entrepreneur, or even if you're an entrepreneur, it's like you are wearing those hats. Even if you have a sales manager or sales director that you report to, you're still responsible for yourself. So really start to see yourself as that sales manager, start managing yourself. Don't let your sales manager just dictate everything and really just rely on him. Like really take that responsibility yourself because that's going to make you a better salesperson. And then at the end of the day, it's all about sales. It's all about just helping people. It's all about, really showing up helping them. Don't go in there trying to sell, because that's just gonna make it you're gonna be selling uphill. If you do make a sale, usually it takes more energy, it takes more effort if you're approaching it from that way. So let's just focus on providing value. Let's think about our process, create our tools and our assets. And I actually like also to say it's like an electrician. An electrician can't do his or her job without the right tools. Like, they need the right tools to get the job done. Same thing in sales. You need to have your demo, you need to have your slides, you need to have your white papers, you need to know when to use them, when to deploy them in your sales process. So really build those tools to help you sell. Don't just try to verbally sell, or don't just take a white paper that was given to you and just use it and throw it out whenever. Really have a strategy on when to use these tools, just like an electrician would when he's trying to repair something or build something electrical.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, I just again want you to get your be highlighted and spotlighted. So what would you like to leave everyone with? Do you have a mantra, or hey, do you have another Les quote? Because I've got thousands of them. But something that you're using that says, let me drive this in. This is the thing that, this mantra that I live by, this quote, a book, something like that, we already know we're going to give them some things from you, but something else that you'd like to share with everyone.
The biggest message that I can say is just do right by people, and good will come back to you. It's, very, it's very true. And it's when you take the focus off of yourself and you do good by your prospects, and you do good by your clients, and you do good by your partners or people that you collaborate with, it all comes back to you. So it's that simple. It's like, really just do good by people, be integral, and really your business will become enjoyable. You'll see opportunities come to you. And it also really applies to sales. It's like, just do good by people and the sales will start to come in. I promise you.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. And, one of the things that I've always said is I never talk about dollars. I always talk about how many people I want to serve.
Right.
Right. And I think that that's exactly what you're saying, is just be good to everybody. And yeah, I love it. Love it. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. I love what you've done. Congratulations on all of your success. And thank you so much for sharing so much with us today. We really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Absolutely.
It was great being here. Thank you for having me.
Good. Yeah, it was just chat, right? I mean, I don't do anything like everybody else does it. I don't have my microphone sitting right in front of me and my head.
Right.
I just don't do it. It's just who I am. I just want to, for the listener, for you listening, I just want to say thank you again for listening. And please hop on over to YouTube and subscribe to this podcast. And I've got some other stuff over there you can subscribe to. We really appreciate you taking time, and we will catch you on the next episode.
You've been listening to Success to Significance with Jen Duplessis, the #1 podcast for people wanting to give more value and make an impact. Loved this episode? Be sure to subscribe right now at www.jenduplessis.com/S2S for more stories, strategies, and thoughts to help you gain significance and success. And if you like what we're doing, don't forget to give us a rating and review so we can continue to bring you the best content possible. Join us next week for another breakthrough episode. Thank you for listening.